Hi everyone, this is Ray. Welcome to my YouTube channel if you are new to this channel. This video is going to be about a profound experience that I've had a few weeks ago that has really enlightened or awakened certain parts in my human journey. I call this video Enlightenment. It's going to be completely different than anything that I've done before. I'm going to be speaking slower, so it takes more time to process everything that I'm saying. Plus, I can be really connected to my emotional body while I'm telling you about how to get there, what you can do, the things that have profoundly changed in my life due to this experience. I will ask for a few things. One of those is that you continue to have eye contact with me while I'm expressing myself in this video. So don't overhear it in the back or anything like that, so you can be in tuned. I believe that this is going to give you much more of the experience itself. Of course, there's other things that are going beyond words, of certain vibrations, energies that I intend to bring out and forecast. I have created two of these. This is called Dual, and this is Infinity and Beyond, what other people might call as the Absolute, which are going to help us during this video, when I'm going to talk about concepts from the 3D existence, in comparison or in contrast to the infinity, the absolute, the beyond the thought, the beyond the emotion, and that's it. I'm so I'm so excited, and of course, yeah, I am going to be speaking a little slower. Like I said, it's going to be a video that is a little bit longer than the usual videos. Maybe if it's too long, I'm going to break it apart because there's so much. There's just so much I want to share, and it's been cultivating in me for the last few weeks. So, without further ado, let's begin. So, an awakened experience, an experience of illumination, enlightenment. First, I want to say that I am a normal human being. I'm not an enlightened soul or anything like that. I am an awakening path as a guide or a spiritual mentor to many. I myself have understood much about my life through this experience, understanding how everything built up to these moments, what I like to call as stage 2 of life. It brings me so much joy just to talk about it. I'm so excited. I don't even know where to begin. Let's begin like this. All of my life I have been experiencing with spirituality on multiple levels. What is spirituality on multiple levels? You know, the high vibration. A lot of the videos that I make talk about that type of stuff. Being a practicing breatharian for many, many years, meditator, yoga practitioner, the type of person that wants to help the world. But this experience has taken me, it was so much more than what I expected. Now, I have a friend that deals with psychedelics, and I also take psychedelics from time to time to experience true spirituality and what others might call shortcuts. And this time he introduced to me something new, and he told me, Ray, this is for you. This is beyond what you normally do. You know, if you take mushrooms, or if you take LSD, or if you take MDMA, or all these things, they cultivate an experience of certain hormones that are released in the brain. Again, that's from the dual world, the dual body. This experience, he says, it doesn't open your third eye, it opens your crown chakra to infinity and beyond. And I said, what do you mean? He said, I cannot explain it in words. So just like in this video, I'm going to use words to try to share with you an experience that cannot really be explained with words. It's not as different as describing a sunset to a blind person, or trying to prove using words how much you love your mother, or how much you love your partner, or your baby, or anything like that. So I will really, really do my best, and I have these, these to help me a little bit, so you guys will understand when I'm talking about something that is beyond words, or talking about something that is completely in our world of words and duality and everything like that. So he came to me one day and we did this thing. It's called DMT5-MeO. Some of you might have heard about it. It is that thing that opens for 10 minutes, only for 10 minutes. I don't want you guys to get confused. I'm using both my hands. For 10 minutes, it opens up your crown to the infinity. You completely let go of any human experience, you are gone, okay? Gone. There is no ray. There is no duality. There is no separateness. There's no God. There's no light. There's nothing. The only thing I can tell you that is there is bliss. It is eternal bliss. It is the light beyond the light. It is the sensation of everything and nothing together. It is all of creation. All levels of it became clear to me. There is no fear because fear only exists in the dual world as a contrast to love. It is what we call the absolute. Beyond the 3, the 4, the 5 dimensions, everything that we are contemplating here. How can I be a better person? How can I feel better about my life? What is excitement? What is love? No. Everything breaks up there. There's nothing. There's only bliss. And in that bliss, there is truth. There is harmony. There is a sensation of who and what we truly are. What is God? What is divinity? What is creation? All the walls that have been building up my entire life, my belief systems, everything that I thought, directions up and down, higher vibration, lower vibration, expectation of what it is to come, expectation and failure to meet those expectations, everything becomes simple and clear. And I'm almost over a month after this experience, and right now I never want to experience it again, maybe sometime in the future. Some of my students, I took them, it was such a deep sensation, feeling, understanding, all the bodies together, a spiritual ascension into an awakening. There was one, the same guy that gave that to me, he has a friend that is really known where I live, and he's a monk, and he said, guys, this is enlightenment. This is what we touch. And I can tell you, you cannot experience it for a very prolonged period of time. You must come back to your body. Your body grounds you. This whole place, this 3D reality grounds us into a lower vibration. So the more time passes from that experience that I had, the more I'm coming back into my life, into my love, my relationship, into my house, into my existence, into my normal job. But everything is different. And I can't talk to anybody about it because almost nobody understands. Even the people who have experienced this deep awakening in using a shortcut, the only reason why it's available now in the last years, the only reason that it's available is because humanity is ready for this awakening. And it is happening. The last month of May 2019, the whole year, everything has been building up to that. Don't you feel the different sensations that are all around us? Don't you see how stage 2 is coming closer and closer to us? How simple life can really be? How we really create our reality using our emotions and using our thoughts that are again in the dual existence. All of these are dual rules. Gravity is a dual rule. The harmony of everything is a dual rule. Nature is. What is beyond? That is the absolute. So when I went up, up, beyond 3D, beyond 5D, beyond 6, everything becomes a story, right? There are no entities, there is no time, there are no aliens, there is no planet. Everything is just an imaginary game that we choose to play with ourselves. So if I'm married to someone, I'm married to myself, another experience of myself. But you see that. And I gave birth to someone, so I gave birth to another version of myself. And my parents are another version of myself. So I'm all me, one me, all that is, all together. Now, if you want to hang on to this specific vibration, you have to slowly and gradually, again, this is a dual belief that I'm helping you cultivate, slowly and gradually raise your vibration, because your body, our body, is not meant to hold on to so much information, to so much light, okay, to such a high vibration of experience. We are meant to be in a box, okay? The dual world is a box of a single body in a certain time, in a certain planet, in a certain country, okay? having a certain amount of potential IQ, meaning brain, how much we can use of it, having a certain amount of potential EQ, emotional, how much emotional we can actually get, because we cannot get more than that. It's the two gates that are actually open. So I have practiced all my life in raising the vibration of my body in order for me to be able to experience these type of, I would say, enlightening experiences. And I believe that when I did come down, I came down gradually and I held on to a lot of the experience, a lot of the information, a lot of the joy, a lot of the bliss, the understanding that, again, I'm trying to explain with words because it's a dual concept. But it's actually the absolute itself. It's divinity, it's God, it's bliss, it's beyond that. And I really wish we could all experience this at least one time in our life. I have reached this state 3 times in my life. I'm not going to go back to it again. I have explained it in different times in my videos. All of them were somehow psychedelic experiences. Some of them were negatively oriented to start with, came from a negative place, a mistake, something that I had to experience in order to awaken a certain part of my emotional body, compassion especially, and humility as well. This can be experienced naturally, but I don't know how right now. I have not met a single person, including the type of people that do meditate 10 hours a day, that is like this and has these understandings and have seen that light, the light beyond the light, nothing and all together, all that is. So, like I said, the definition of what life means for me has changed. It means absolutely nothing. Feel the freedom that comes off your chest when you think that life has no meaning. And then you go into duality, judgment. What do you mean life has no meaning? So what are we doing here? What is this question? Why are we doing here? We are meant to ask, what is this place? Who am I? What is consciousness? Animals don't ask this. This is where we're supposed to be, between the 4th level inside the 3D and the 5D, where we understand all of these things that I'm talking about, but we still don't express them. Here, we have a slingshot all the way up, just because we are living in duality, in a free world realm, where these things are available to us. In other places, there is no duality. There is no free will to express this amazing sensation, you can say. So, what would happen to your life if you wouldn't seek a meaning all the time? If you wouldn't seek progress? What if there is no up and no down? Up and down are dual. What if there is no forward in time and no backwards in time? That is a dual concept. In other words, when I'm expecting something and I fail to reach that, if I wanted to do something and I didn't get there, if I have a business forecast or expectation and I didn't get there as well, who cares? That's not the meaning. The meaning is what I give it. And right now, it's mostly just being in the joy, being in the now, being in the present. Nothing really matters. All those little things that I thought that really harassed my brain, always thinking about them. How many people are going to subscribe to the YouTube channel? What time do I need to get to work? How do I please other people? How do I treat my physical body? All those things, yes, they exist, but they're so subtle now, so subtle. They're meaningless almost. Because I know that naturally when I let go of that expectation of getting somewhere, I'm back in the now, and then I will treat my body. And then I will be the best colleague and the best, for me, computer programmer and spiritual mentor that I can actually be. I let go of everything that doesn't belong to me. It's just an energy form that I can now manipulate. Imagine what you can take from this experience, not understanding it in words. Imagine that you understood that everything is really now. So again, we understand hypothetically that time does not exist. We know this. We heard it 1,000,000 times. But we don't understand that if time doesn't exist, everything is in a singular point, a 0 point that is always present. And by that point, we actually create our past. In other words, for example, My wife went to a rebirthing session, that's intense breathing, and she found out there that her mother is a connected soul, and she was there with her half-sister that her mother actually didn't give birth to, and there was a connection there. But why did this happen? Why wasn't this information known to her before? Because there was something that she needed to solve in that point in time, and she was ready for it. So a past story was created, manufactured, and moved into her memory or into her theme, her story, in order for her to understand something that she was finally ready to understand in the story that she tells herself. And this is something that we do all the time. The past actually changes according to our resonance in the present. Now, when you go into this awakened state, you don't only see yourself in that point, you see the Absolute. And the Absolute contains everything. Imagine how many variations of you are out there, not only as you right now, all your previous and your future incarnations all at once, all possible parallel existences all at once, all universes, all planets, all galaxies, all alien life forms, all animal life forms, all plant life forms, all existing at once in a quantum state. Now you experience this, and again, it's hard to explain. Again, you're trying to explain it using words, using love, using emotions, using thoughts. Words are coming, they create beliefs, they create thoughts, and that's what I'm trying to explain. But in the Absolute, everything is clear. This isn't real. Time isn't real. We aren't real. We are the Absolute. We are the Creator experiencing Himself in every possible variation, any possible variation. Now, when I came back, and again, it was hard to come back. In the beginning, you don't understand where you were, and slowly I saw two familiar faces, my wife next to me, my friend that was giving me that stuff, and I'm slowly understanding where I am, who I am. He told me, you can even take more. I said, no, I'm already wet. I am experiencing an orgasm. How can I have another orgasm inside the orgasm? I'm already living the dream inside the dream. Now, the first thing I said, after I cried a little bit, because it's hard to experience something like this without experiencing a little bit of sadness for humanity, for what we are and how we are doing things right now. And then I laughed a lot. I laughed so much. And then I remembered what Buddha said after his enlightenment, after his 40-day meditation. I cannot teach them what enlightenment is. I cannot bring everyone there, but I can try to reduce the human suffering. And in those 10 minutes, I didn't really move, but the only thing they told me that I said was please, 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 please. And the reason why I said please was so hard for me to experience this Absolute, this divinity, this simplicity, this godness, and not wanting to share it, to show it, to help heal humanity, which right now is suffering so much. And that's why I cried, and that's why I laughed. Because it's a story, it's a beautiful story, it's a dramatic, full of emotions and ups and downs, but it's just a story. What we make of it is what it is. It's really what it is. All the mentors are trying to tell us, using metaphors, using stories, other stories, children's stories, so we can read between the lines. It is impossible to read this between the lines. It's impossible because it needs to be experienced. Now, can we experience it naturally? Maybe. Maybe if we live in a cave for 40 years and we are meditating 12 hours a day, maybe. But this was my shortcut. And I know because I've been looking for this my entire life. And now I've reached it. Now, I know it sounds all good, but I have experienced difficulties afterwards. Adaptation, manic state for a while. I can really, because a few years ago I had a friend that took too much of something good, we say, and he completely lost it. It took about 2 months, and he went into bipolar, and he became manic for a while, and then depressed for a while, When you become bipolar, there's an up, I'm God, I'm creation, I'm all of this, laughter, spending a lot of money on everything. And then there's the depression. When you slowly come back to the human form, you understand that you spend all your money, all your friends are gone because you acted like crazy. So I understood what it means to experience something so profound, and I knew how to avoid the second part. But I've seen that it's unavoidable. I've been having mood swings a lot. The sort of like, it's not even depression, but it's sort of like life has no meaning. And then I realize what I've learned there. Life has no meaning, but in a positive way. Life has the meaning that we choose to give it in our present moment alone. This is all that is. There's nothing that's going to come. There's nothing that happened. The future is an illusion that we build according to our expectations. The past is in the past. Everything happens only in the now. Imagine how a conversation changes when you understand this principle. Imagine how playing with my baby girl changes. I have only her, only now, only this moment. All I have is a stupid kids game that I'm enjoying with. Imagine going to the beach, touching with the water. Everything becomes so simple. And it's all about being mindful in the present moment. So again, what if life didn't have a meaning? What if there is no afterlife? Or whatever it is that we talk about? Because everyone chooses his own belief, right? The three mono religions, they're basically about the existence of heaven and hell and stuff like that. Most of us believe in incarnations. Of course, incarnations exist. But it's something that is beyond the 3D just a little bit. What if we go 5D, 6D, 7D, 12D, and then the creation, the infrastructure itself, the absolute. And when you go over there, all the way there, nothing matters. And that is the one truth. That is the only one truth. Everything is defined by the present moment here, in this vibration, in this low density, full of challenges. You think you're alone, you're not alone. The absolute shows you that everything is one. It's not that it's all connected. It is one particle expressing itself as all that is. What if life didn't have a meaning that we seek? What if the meaning was whatever it is that we choose to do right now? And then we don't have to look for something outside. We don't have to be seeking spirituality, because again, it's not only inside, there is no outside. The outside, or what we define as outside, is a set of rules made for the 3D existence, for us as God to experience our divinity, the infinite possibilities, the expression through every human being, animal, alien life, the expression through stars and galaxies and other things that are above. This is just duality. We are confined here to feeling and to thinking. Now again, how can I express, how can I tell a blind person how a sunset looks like? How can I share the colors? How can I tell him what a sun actually is? But we and you and I, we are not blind. We have forgotten. So this is a person that became blind. So somewhere in there is an understanding of what a sunset is, what is non-duality, what is existence. And that is what has changed, because I have remembered, I have recollected the experience of life. I have seen that I'm much more cheerful now. I'm much happier. And yes, even though more than a month have passed since that experience, I have retained most of it inside myself. And by doing this, I am reminding myself of how it feels like. You know, there is a story about the Golden Buddha. You might have heard about it. There was a statue that a bunch of monks in the temple made one day. And it was a statue of Buddha, but it was made out of solid gold. And they prayed to that statue and they looked at it, and it was beautiful and amazing for them. And it represented to them how illuminous they could be and how creation itself is so divinely perfect. But then one day they realized that the Golden Buddha can actually be stolen. So instead of hiding it, They wanted it to be out there, and they just covered it with mud and with rock, until it wasn't a golden Buddha anymore, but it just looked like a regular statue. Hundreds of years have passed, and in the future, those monks changed, and nobody actually remembered that there was a golden Buddha underneath all that mud and rock and everything. Little plants started to surface on the golden Buddha, setting roots in the mud and in the rock, and it completely lost its form. And then after a long time, a little piece of the rock broke off, and one of the monks, hundreds of years after, saw a little gold luminous just beyond the regular rock and mud. And then he started uncovering it, breaking it, to rediscover that the golden Buddha was always there. And that is the process of enlightenment. That is the process of awakening. To remember that we were and are always the golden Buddha. And now we have uncovered another piece of ourselves. We've only traveled so far in density in order to rediscover that we are the golden Buddha. I know it takes time to understand it. We call it to digest some of this information. I know that you understand partially and hypothetically because I'm using dual concepts. I'm using words. I'm using thoughts. But we are not really blind. We have begun seeing. We see with more colors than ever. Even though right now most human beings, we still see in black and white. What happens if one day you see everything in color? You awaken to this realization that everything is just as it was, only far more beautiful. There is a sensation of bliss that is absolutely eternal, and it doesn't go away. Everything becomes being stage 2. Stage 1 is the suffering. Stage 2 is the enlightenment, is the awakening. Now, how can I take all of this into my day-to-day life? How can I? I can. It's hard, and I've been doing my best to do it. I've taken the bliss. I've taken the joy as much as I could. I'm laughing much more. I'm sleeping much less. I'm not even thinking about doing anything that's negative in any way. But I can see that there's a beginning of a wanting for more. There's a striving for more. Why do I need to come back? Why do I need to express this Ray character? Can't I just run away to that? No. What actually was experienced is that everything is divinely perfect. And therefore, if I exist in this 3D reality, then there's a reason for my existence. And whatever that reason is, it's already started. It's going to come. There's something that we call, being in the light, being on our journey, being in the right, in the right path that is illuminated. But we can also steer off the path. What I call my destiny, that's stage 2. Everything becomes easier about life. Your heart light opens up. You begin seeing and feeling much more. You begin not caring about time at all. You don't need to read much more books. You don't need to watch much more videos. You just are much more. And life will fill up with entertainment, with experiences, with love, with everything that you always wanted. And if it didn't, then it means that you're still dually judging it. You're always thinking about what I wanted. This is not your life to experience. This is your spirit guide experiencing a body, a certain state. Now, when I broke all that apart, when I saw the 3D reality truly for what it is, and how simple my life can actually be, it's so hard. It's so hard to explain this, really. It's so hard. You come to an understanding that your thoughts are not your own thoughts. They're the thoughts of God. The money that you're spending is not your own money. It's God's money. It's the creation's money. You're playing a game, but you are everything together, right? So when you are talking to someone, you're talking to yourself. You married a part of yourself. You're bringing a child that is yourself. So you're actually experiencing everything through them and through the mirror itself as a reflection. You see every person as yourself. You see every animal as yourself. That is why you cannot eat other people. You cannot eat other animals. It doesn't make sense for you to eat yourself, right? unless in a very perverted universe people actually consume themselves in some way. Now, when you understand this, and again, that's a non-dual understanding, you can peak and then you slowly and gradually ground yourself up to the human experience, to where you were in your vibrational level, you can say. And well, I'm really, really happy that you stayed all the way to the end. And I can just tell you that if you guys are ready, just put an intention to experience something as profound as this, an awakening experience that will be left in your cells, in your mind, in your joy forever and ever and ever and ever. I can tell you that I am slowly and gradually coming back to myself, my regular worries, my regular thoughts, my regular emotions. I'm just more happy, more blissful, you know. I see life as much more simple, but I cannot explain it to others around me. They think that I'm high all the time. It's not that. But it is, you cannot retain this. Like a flower cannot stay open all the time. It has to blossom and then it has to stop. Same thing with human beings. We cannot retain this high, awakened joy all the time. We have to go through processes of awakening, ups and downs all the time. Thank you very much, my friends. Of course, if you want to ask any questions and stuff like that, I tried to say as much as I could. I tried to explain as much as I could. Hope you stayed all the way to the end. Thank you very much for trusting me, for allowing me to express myself, to share my journey with you. And I love you all, and I love reality, and God and creation, my wife, my baby, life itself. Namaste, and I will see you in my next video.